under matters of national importance. During debate, you will raise your issues.
Thank you so much. Right Honorable Speaker, permit me on behalf of the people of Moyo and on my own behalf to congratulate you upon your wedding anniversary and for being exemplary, living exemplary Christian life for our people. I also, and pray for us, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I stand on behalf of the Minister of Education and Sports to present a statement to this floor parliament on the transition from O level to A level under the new curriculum. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, the statement contained herein is drawn from and embodies clarifications concerning matters of national importance that was raised yesterday by Honorable Harold, the Member of Parliament for Bukonjo East County, on the transition from O level to A level under the new competence-based curriculum. We all may recall that this House approved the rollout of the lower secondary curriculum in 2019. And consequently, the Ministry of Education and Sports commenced the implementation of the curriculum in the calendar year 2020, starting with Senior 1. Between 2019 and 2023, Right Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Education and Sports, among others, developed and circulated syllabus documents to schools and trained 63,649 teachers across the country. The training is ongoing and it is a continuous process to empower the teachers to implement the new lower secondary curriculum effectively. I am glad to inform you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members of Parliament, that the pioneer cohort of the new lower secondary curriculum will be sitting their end of examination cycle in November 2024. The Ministry of Education and Sports is addressing currently all challenges relating to the competence-based curriculum so as to consolidate the curriculum before we progress to the A-level curriculum. Right Honorable Speaker, UNEP has embarked on stakeholders' engagements to increase awareness on the new lower secondary curriculum and what changes is expected in areas such as reporting of results and certificates. Following the review of the lower secondary curriculum to a competence-based, learner-centered curriculum, the Ministry of Education and Sports found it necessary to revise the upper secondary curriculum, which is the A-level curriculum, as a continuity of the improved teaching methods. Mr. Speaker, to this end, the Ministry of Education and Sports has so far undertaken the following preliminary activities for the review and the rollout of upper secondary curriculum. Number one, the ministry has undertaken a needs assessment, that is an evaluation, a study that was conducted on the current A-level syllabus to determine its adequacies. And to that effect, Mr. Speaker, there is a full report that is available on the website of the Ministry of Education and that of National Curriculum Development Center. Number two, we consulted with universities, tertiary institutions, and other education stakeholders on the recommendations of the need assessment study. Number 3, we developed the A-level curriculum framework as part of an outcome-based education reform design, which is aligned to the O-level framework. Number 4, in addition to the documents to guide the implementation, the Ministry of Education and Sports, through the National Curriculum Development Center, has developed syllabus materials for the proposed 25 subjects to be offered at A-level. And the ministry has reviewed the teacher training strategy to incorporate lessons learned in O-level rollout of the curriculum. Mr. Speaker and honorable members of Parliament, the Ministry of Education and Sport is undergoing government quality assurance currently and approval processes for the A-level curriculum, which will at a later time involve this House. And the members of Parliament will participate and contribute accordingly. In the meantime, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Education and Sports has budgeted in the financial year 2024 and 2025 for continuation of the review of the A-level curriculum to make it competence-based. Ministry will ensure all preparations in terms of training of teachers, instructional materials are all made prior, available, and adequate before the implementation. Mr. Speaker, UNEB will also administer a transitional examination for old O-level curriculum, which will be a one-off examination to the following categories of people. For those who sat the UCE examination in 2023, but could wish to repeat the examination. For those who registered but did not sit the examination or dropped out due to sickness or due to other conditions. For those who missed the registration for the 2023 examination due to various reasons. For adult learners who are studying on their own or at any learning facilities. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Education and Sports encourages all the categories I've just read to register with UNEB and not to miss this opportunity. Thank you, and I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, I've just seen on page 3, bullet A, where you refer Parliament to a website. Kind of Honorable Minister, that's not how we work here. If you have a report, you read it on table. Okay? And I will request you, see a way of communicating with your team. By the time we finish the debate, you read the report on table. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, most obliged. By the time I complete, I will bring the report and lay on the table. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, I'm of the view that since I said the debate should cover all issues to do with education, and these are statements for which we are not passing resolutions, they are for information, and we are enriching the minister's statement to go and address some issues. We receive both statements from the minister, and we have a general debate at once. So, next.
Item 3.2, statement by the Minister of Education and Sports on the measures against airline schools that charge exorbitant fees in clear violation of the directives issued by government.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand on the floor of Parliament to present a statement on the issues of school fees charges. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Education and Sports shares the concerns of honorable members of Parliament about the prohibitive school fees charges, which are denying access to education for a number of learners and compromising the government objectives of providing affordable, quality education for all and increasing equitable access to education. Right Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that the First Lady and the Minister of Education and Sports then, in 2017, set up a school fees review committee that was chaired by Professor Kayanja Frederick. The findings and recommendations of the committee were considered and guidelines issued while taking into consideration the liberalized nature of the economy and the consequent need for government to regulate rather than control levels of fees by designing guidelines which schools must abide by. Right Honorable Speaker, from the recommendations that were drawn by the committee of Professor Kayanja, the ministry has come up with a number of measures.
This procedure, Honorable Siranyi.
Right Honorable Speaker, I rise on a procedural matter. When you read the report that the minister is the same, it is the same report that was presented with everything a full stop, and this is the report that we sent back the Honorable Minister the other time to go and make it more comprehensive. The same report was presented to the House. There is no change in the full stop if you review what is on the Hansard. So would it be procedurally right for the minister to present the same report when we sent the ministry away with that report to go and make a more comprehensive report? And that time the report was being presented by the Minister for Higher Education, the Honorable Muyingo. It is the same report, no full stop, no commas, quotes, everything is the same. Right, Honorable Speaker.
At least there is a change of date on the report and the signature. So it can't be the same. The signature is different, the date is different, it can't be the, but anyway, anyway, that was just on a light note. Honorable colleague, I would say let the minister present, okay? Because, listen, because the issues that are coming up are recurrent, okay? Are recurrent. So let's just wait, and then when we go on to debate, we shall bring these issues. So let the minister finish. Because, honorable colleagues, I haven't read the statement. Now, for you, if you've read ahead of me who is presiding and I haven't received the statement, how do I base on what if you're misreading me? Yeah, so, minister, please just read the statement, okay?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for your wise guidance and the protection. Certainly there are differences. Allow me to present, Right Honorable Speaker, from the recommendation that were drawn by the committee, the ministry came up with the measures to curb the continuous rising fee charges. These measures were communicated to schools and the general public through press release and circulars by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education. And they were issued in 2018 and 2022. And Mr. Speaker, I'm going to lay them on the table thereafter. And these are the directives in the circular. 1, no school, private or government, shall increase school fees for whatever reason without written authorization from the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, or from the Chief Administrative Officer or from the Town Clerk. Number 2, Other cash and non-cash requirements outside the approval school fees structure are strictly prohibited. All non-cash items must be catered for in the school budget. Number 3, schools implementing UPE and USEs and universal post-O-level education and training shall strictly adhere to the policy implementation guidelines with parents, where parents decide and agree to contribute towards an emergency in the school and permission is sought and granted by the permanent secretary. No learner shall be excluded from school on account of a parent's failure to pay the agreed amount in accordance with the Section 9 in bracket number 3 of the Education Act of 2008. As soon as the emergency is resolved, the school shall stop charging the emergency fund. Number 4, where a school board or school management committee has the employee to employ additional teachers to those on payroll, permission shall be sought from the permanent secretary in case of secondary education and chief administrative officer or the town clerk in case of primary schools to use part of the capitation grant towards the payment of the additional teachers. Number 5, in line with the above 4, head teachers are warned against employing additional teachers before all the teachers on payroll have been assigned the minimum required teaching load. All teachers without a minimum teaching load should be promptly reported to the ministry in case of secondary education or to respective local government in case of primary schools for appropriate deployment. All schools must respect staff establishment ceilings for both teaching and non-teaching staff as provided by the Ministry of Public Service. Number 6, private schools must adhere to the approved staff employment guidelines. They should formally recruit, contract, and effectively manage and develop staff on reasonable employment terms. Number 7, all government and government-aided schools should desist from taking commercial loans. Any school applying for a loan must seek authorization from the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development through the PS, Ministry of Education, as provided for in the Public Finance Management Act of 2015. These guidelines have been widely circulated to institutions of learning across the country through local government, Kampala City Council Authority, and the Directorate of Education Standards. Right, Honorable Speaker. The Ministry of Education and Sports prepared a cabinet paper on school fees regulation. However, cabinet, in accordance to fulfill the pledge of free education for all, directed the Ministry of Education and Sports to submit another memo on compulsory, comprehensive, free universal education for all. Mr. Speaker, the ministry, it is important to note that Cabinet under Minute 109 CT 2023 approved a list of unacceptable items which schools are not allowed to charge, including fees for remedial learning and construction. And indeed, Cabinet, Mr. Speaker, approved the comprehensive, compulsory, free and universal education for all. The ministry is currently embarking on the process of implementing the compulsory free universal education for all and will brief Parliament accordingly on the progress at an appropriate time. Right, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, and honorable members, Ministry of Education and Sports is committed to ensuring free and equitable access to quality education for all. We therefore call upon all stakeholders to play their part accordingly and support the ministry in delivering her mandate. I beg to submit, Mr. Speaker, on page 5, you see Annex 1, which is part of the approval item by Cabinet on 17th March 2023. These are the items not allowable items at school. And before I leave, allow me to submit all the circulars that the Ministry of Education and Sports have so far sent to all schools. I beg to submit the report on the review of school fees charges in government and private schools that was way back in July 2027. I beg to submit. I beg to submit, Mr. Speaker.
2027, Honorable Minister.
I'm sorry, I beg your pardon, and I wish to retrieve that. I wish to repeat. Mr. Speaker, I beg to submit a report on the review of school fees charges in government and private schools that was made in July 2017. I beg to submit. I beg to submit a circular that was sent by the Ministry of Education and Sport to all schools in October 29 in 2018 on guidelines on school fees charges. I beg to submit. Mr. Speaker, I beg to submit circular that was sent to all schools on 4th February 2020 on circular 01/2020 on charging and increasing school fees without permission. I beg to lay. Mr. Speaker, I also beg to lay on table a circular number 13 that was sent to all schools on 11th January 2022 to all chairpersons, board of governors of secondary schools, school management committee, and all the heads on habitual increase of school fees charges on reopening of schools for calendar year 2022, and I beg to lay on the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable colleagues, the Right Reverend Bishop is accompanied by Father Kawesa Posiano, the chaplain for the Catholic chaplains in Parliament, Father Romchan Arbat Jekir, Father Jachan James Maxwell, Father Ruga Joseph, and Father Ben Choa. Thank you. I'm seeing one whose name I have not been able to get for now. And also in the house we have Father Nen. Honorable Chair Education Committee, is he around? Yes. Honorable John Pesce.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues. I just want to make comments on the two statements that have been made by the Honorable Minister. On the first one of transition from O level to A level. And two, when you refer to her statement, she's also saying that UNEB will conduct exams for these leftovers in the old curriculum. When we are interacting with UNEB, when we are considering the National Budget Framework paper, they commented and they told us that the time for those transition exams will be June, July. But I would have been comfortable if the Honorable Minister had mentioned the specific date when those exams will be conducted. Then two, on the issue of school fees, exorbitant fees payment. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable members, as you are aware, we brought a report here and the report was turned to committee. And I'm surprised that the same information we're asking from the ministry, which they are not providing to help us complete the processes, the same information is being tabled here, which they never tabled in the committee. But I would, honorable members, since this information is here in Parliament, you allow us, I work with the move of the motion at that time concerning exorbitant fees payment, that is Honorable Saro Pendi. We are going to harmonize a few things on Monday. On Tuesday, Right Honorable Speaker, you allow us to bring that report so that we exhaustively discuss the matter on item 3.2. I beg to request, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, please. Let's respect time provided for in our rules of procedure. Okay. This matter has been long overdue. Your committee has delayed so much. That's why we are having all these issues pushing the minister, to come and bring the statements here. So please ensure that on Tuesday you are ready. We shall put you on order paper to present a report of the committee.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Procedure, Honorable Jonathan Odur.
Right Honorable Speaker, when you guided that the two statements be presented and debate ensues, I had hoped that item 3.2 would be presented as captured on the order paper. And for emphasis, the item is the measures against errant schools that charge exorbitant fees in clear violation of the directives issued by the government. And that is what I'd expected the minister to present here. These directives, we are aware, and they have been issued since 2020, as she has alluded here. The report we wanted was to tell us that the Honorable so-and-so who owns this school charging very exorbitant school fees has been sanctioned as such. That the Honorable Dr. Joyce Moruchu, who owns this school and is the minister in the education sector, has been sanctioned this way. So, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to move that item 3.2, which has not been adequately answered, be stood over and the minister be sent back, and the debate only concentrates on item 3.1, because what has been presented here is not actually what we required on the order paper, Mr. Speakers.
Thank you. Let me first speak around two more procedures, then I give, if it's in relation to what Honorable Jonathan Odur has raised. Is it connected to what Honorable Jonathan Odur has raised? Because I cannot have procedure, okay? So I want to know if it's related so that I answer at once. I guide at once. Honorable Saro Pendi.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the voices of the poor people can only be heard in this parliament and through members of parliament. And when we delay to tackle some of these issues, then that to me is an injustice. And the people continue to suffer. I raised this motion over 2 years ago. But as you can see, the problem is actually becoming worse to an extent that, Right Honorable Speaker, you can even see nursery schools charging 4 million shillings for a nursery kid. 4 million shillings. And Right Honorable Speaker, I want to completely concur with the Honorable Honorable Dur, that let us focus on the issue of the curriculum and then allow the committee and us to go and discuss so that we can have a report presented to this House and then we can discuss in detail. Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, I even have another motion that has been on the order paper and off. regarding the early childhood education policy. There is a policy in place that is not being implemented. We have left the nursery education to the private sector. And yet we have a policy where that brought by government, passed by government, where this early childhood education should be incorporated into the primary schools. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to agree that let's focus on the curriculum, and then we are going to handle this matter. Hopefully next week we have a whole session to discuss this issue regarding the education sector in this country. So, Right Honorable Speaker, that is that's the procedure issue. Thank you.
Honorable Namboze.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand on a matter of procedure. It shall be noted, Right Honorable Speaker, that this would be the second time, if we are to turn away this report as presented, it would be the second time we are sending the minister, the third time, Mr. Speaker, that we shall be standing over this report because it is inconclusive. Right Honorable Speaker, would it be procedural okay? If we continue, if this House continue to send away the minister and demand for a better report without indicting or reprimanding the same minister, wouldn't we be breeding impunity? Right Honorable Speaker, wouldn't it be procedurally okay if you would allow me to move a motion without notice that this House moves to reprimand the Ministry of Education over its failure to bring a report that would enable this House to tackle a matter that is so pertinent to the education of our children? Mr. Speaker, wouldn't it be procedural okay if you would give me that opportunity, sir? I beg to move.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, first of all, for clarification, we didn't send away the Minister for Education. What we sent away was our own Committee of Parliament, which processed a report, which we felt was not satisfactory. And we said, no, committee, go back, improve on this report, capture A, B, C, D. Okay? So that one I want to first make it very clear. But I'm still ruling and So number two, Honorable Minister, like Honorable Jonathan Odu put it, the question was very simple. You put in place all these measures. You said these are the guidelines, all schools must adhere to these guidelines. So our question was, we know there are schools which are not adhering to this guideline. What are you doing to them? What punitive measures have you put in place? Or there are no sanctions. That's what we wanted to do. Honorable Minister, do you have any sanctions in place for schools which have not adhered to your guidelines? Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister, if you want time to come back and bring.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. 2 points to respond to. One is about the date for examination that was raised by the chairperson.
No, Honorable Minister, you're responding to the Speaker's question?
Thank you,
Because
Speaker.
we are on point of procedure.
The issue raised is about whether we are able to pass sanctions or not.
Yeah.
But I want to say that the law has given some gaps in terms of statutory instrument and regulatory framework. And that is why when the ministry, Mr. Speaker, when the Ministry of Education took the framework paper for regulating such that we eventually get the statutory instrument to regulate these schools, Parliament, in their wisdom, advised the Ministry of Education we should come in with a comprehensive paper that is going to put in place to bring on board the compulsory universal free education. And that goes along with increment in funding, which is 309 billion. And that will cater to the additional funds which schools are charging in terms of recruiting additional teachers, adding capitation grant, and other school charges. So once that is put in place, which we are hopeful in the coming financial year, we should be in position to implement, then we should be in position to really cut down most of these issues of school fees charges.
Thank
That
you.
is the advice we got from cabinet.
For the record, that was cabinet, not parliament.
Yes, that was cabinet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Attorney General, guide us. Government issues guidelines. Guidelines are violated. Such a guideline is issued without sanctions.
Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to address my mind to that and come back and report on what the law says on that issue.
Thank you. Honorable Semaju.
Mr. Speaker, you will allow me to raise this procedure with a short background. You did tell us here, Mr. Speaker, that the reason the Minister of Education, the substantive minister approved by this Parliament, cannot attend Parliament is because of COVID. That's what you told us, Mr. Speaker. I was wondering if the minister who has no time for Parliament can have time for schools. So the procedural issue I am raising is whether this Parliament must not interest in itself in what is taking place at the Ministry of Education. These ministers, you are roasting one after another. First, my friend Ogwang brought a statement, chest. Secondly, Jesse Muyingo brings a statement, chest. Now you are about to chase Honorable Kaduchu. They take more than 3 weeks without meeting the minister. They can come here and pretend. 3 weeks. Sometimes a whole month. That's why they keep bringing the same statements, just changing their signatures and dates. Because the one running the ministry is not accessible, and you said here, COVID. Related to that issue of procedure, Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Education here in the last Parliament brought a report here of the President Yoweri Museveni Kaguta Tibuhaburwa running a school in Kanyareru where he pays 700,000 per child in that school, but he also pays 10,000 for a full year for a child in UPE school. So if you want sanctions taken against the exorbitant charge of school fees, even before you go for Muyingo, we start with Mr. Museveni, who runs a school where he pays personally 700,000 per child in Kanyareru, and then he pays 10,000 per child in UPE. Then we can deal with the others. That's why they can't take sanctions, because they themselves violating the
MP for Nyabusho's order.
Right Honorable Speaker, this is a house of record. Kanyareru is a sub-county in Nyabusho's constituency, a constituency that I proudly represent here. I want to state on record that President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, whom he calls Mr. Museveni, does not own a school where he pays school fees, as he states. What exists, however, in Kanyareru is a primary school and a secondary school like they exist in any other sub-county of the Republic of Uganda. Even in Kira municipality, where Honorable
member of parliament standing here to speak, there are primary schools and secondary schools in Chira where government of the Republic of Uganda, headed by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, pays capitation grant and government aided. That is the position as it is. Is he in order, Right Honorable Speaker, to mislead this august house that the president owns a school and pays school fees?
Mr. Chairman, you wanted to add on before I can, your Chairman, Education Committee?
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I came in the Parliament of Uganda, the 10th Parliament, and right from the time we resumed Parliament in 2016, I was on the Committee of Education. In 2018, I was the Vice Chair. I don't remember any moment when the Committee of Education brought a report relating to what Honorable Semjo was saying. Would you bring the evidence in the on the website and lay it on table? So, yes, I need your protection, Right Honorable Speaker, so that I conclude.
Please, it's you on the microphone.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So this Parliament of Uganda is a parliament that bases itself on evidence. So I would request through you, Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Semuju, my best friend, to bring evidence of what he's talking about. In my view, what he's telling us is not well substantiated.
Thank you. Now, Honorable colleagues, Honorable Minister, I wanted to say something.
Mr. Speaker, this morning, the whole top management of the Ministry of Education and Sports were together with the Minister of Education. We were together with the Ministry of Education, regardless of where, at Nakasero. We were together with the team from UNEB, having meetings, looking at the O-level results, which is to be released tomorrow. And before that, I personally had face-to-face extensive meeting with the Minister of Education and Sports, who is also the First Lady. We discussed on this matter of the curriculum transition. We discussed on this matter of school fees before I came on this floor of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, we must put the records clear. Is my colleague, Honorable Ibrahim, in order really to stand on this floor and to say that the ministers of state in education do not have time to even meet the minister after 3 weeks? What is he really in order when I've just been with the minister on record before coming here? Thank you.
Now, Honorable Minister, you might find Honorable Semuja has tried to access the First Lady and has failed. And therefore he thinks it's difficult for everyone. But anyway, you've given that information to him that you've met the minister and you've been meeting. I remember when I was in cabinet, the First Lady was attending cabinet, and I just wanted to clarify this, that the issue, Honorable Semuju, the way I brought it here, I told the House that the COVID restrictions around the First Lady and the President, by virtue of her being a wife of the President, required that we continue doing COVID tests all the time. Listen, which was not sustainable on our side. So for convenience purposes, I have seen many ministries here where I have never seen a cabinet minister here, but they are moving. So that's why we as presiding officers decided, when she sought our guidance, we guided her and said, no, you don't need to be here. When we need you, we shall inform you. Okay? So that's you ask me, okay? You don't direct. Okay? Number two, on the issue raised by Honorable Kashrinji on point of order, you know, when you become specific, when you become very specific, then you find as a House, we can demand that indeed you table. So I will request Honorable Semuju, because now Honorable Semuju might be right or he might be wrong. Okay, so I must give him a chance to prove what he has alleged.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Semuju? Yeah.
I am very happy for you to give me the chance. You see, I graduated the same day with Honorable Janet Kata. Even her classrooms were being conducted in State House as a student. So when these things, we know what you're talking about. Mr. Speaker, I am going to bring here a report of the Committee of Parliament that was complaining the president runs a school where he pays school fees 700,000. I am going to bring that report. I also bring the answer the day we debated that report. I don't want to rely, an MP, you shut up and say, I don't remember, and then you are giving evidence. Then how would we trust you? So I want to thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I am going to bring that report here.
Honorable Semuju, can you bring that tomorrow?
No, I'll bring it, Mr. Speaker, maybe Tuesday, because I need to go and retrieve the report and the answer itself. But also, even as I make that pledge, if you ordered the technical people here in Parliament to go and bring you that answer, because this might happen here.
No, Honorable.
Yeah, the Honorable Kanya remembers.
Please, Honorable Kanya, please, first wait. No, first wait, please, first wait. What I'm asking for is not verbal statements. What I'm asking for is what should be tabled here. So Honorable Semuju, I'm giving you tomorrow. So tomorrow at 2, I'll give you a chance. Because you said it's a report of Parliament, it's answered. That's very clerk, please. If you request for it, give it to him but even this evening. It's very simple.
Mr. Speaker, I don't want to complain, but I have seen you here giving ministers weeks.
Don't mind, we shall help you to even.
Can the Honorable Kanya remind me the date? I go and bring it now.
Honorable Kanya, please. I will just need a report from Honorable Semuju, and then tomorrow I'll be able to rule, because I couldn't rule when a member can say I can bring the information here. So tomorrow we shall work on that, and our office will cooperate with you in case you need information, any information from the clerk. Okay. So honorable colleagues, allow me I guide on this one of school fees, please. Allow me I guide on the one of school fees. The one of school fees, we are going to debate it on Tuesday together with the report of the committee. Now, Honorable Minister, please appear before the committee and give them the measures you have taken. And you can even seek the guidance of the Attorney General. The measures you have taken against schools, or the measures you can take against schools that have failed to adhere to your guidelines. Okay? And then we shall have to debate that matter. So the debate today is on 3.1 and other issues to do with the education sector that I had allowed. I may allow Honorable Rola first, followed by Honorable Gyarugabari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm back again to ask about the report on special needs education, and also to say that after the PLA results, we are having challenges as members of Parliament who represent people with disabilities. We do not know what the government is implementing. Is the government implementing inclusive education for students with disabilities? Are they implementing segregated education? We are confused, Mr. Speaker. There is a member of Parliament here who actually has a child who was asking me where to take their child. Because as regards secondary school, Mr. Speaker, children who have finished P7 with disabilities, we don't know where they are going. Mr. Speaker, I want the Minister of Education to tell us where, I know that we have commitments internationally and nationally in our laws to progressively implement inclusive education. However, we do not know right now. For example, I do not know what to tell a mother who has a child with autism, where they should take their child for secondary education. The schools that are there are scattered all over the country for the blind, for the deaf. They cannot cater for other types of disabilities. But also those schools that are there, government made a commitment to promote and implement inclusive education. Mr. Speaker, we want to know the fate of students, of young people with disabilities. What are we implementing as government? Where are the special needs teachers? In the curriculum, what are we doing about the current teachers? Because in our understanding, the teachers should be refreshed. If we don't have enough special needs teachers, the current teachers should be refreshed, given refresher trainings to be able to have children with specific needs within mainstream schools, and those teachers should be able to teach these children. Mr. Speaker, I need to know the stand, and I need to have an answer to the people of this country who have children who need to go to secondary school and have nowhere to take them. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Minister, I asked you for a statement on the performance of students with special needs. It has taken forever. I need it tomorrow. And it should cover the concerns raised by Honourable Ola. That's a statement we shall start with tomorrow. Because children with disabilities, what do we tell them? Most of them are scattered across the country. They reach out to you. You can't just say you even give school fees. They have special needs. They need special schools. Can we have a list of all those schools? We know the ones which are government funded. We know the services you give, the equipment you give for the blind. You give braille. Do you give materials which are readable via braille and all that? Okay? So let's have it tomorrow.
Mr. Speaker, I'd come with a statement on the issues of poor performance of learners with disability. However, since it was not in the ordered paper, we did not submit to your office. So probably, as you've guided, tomorrow we can.
You see how Parliament works. I receive a statement, then I put it on order paper. I don't put a statement on order paper, then I wait to submit. Because if you don't submit, then we jump it, it doesn't look good, okay? So I request that you enrich it with the issues raised by Honorable Ola. It can be part B of this statement, and then we have it tomorrow on order paper. Thank you, Honorable Minister. So I had picked Honorable Barracks.
Thank you.
Then Honorable Wasirivia.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I would like also to associate myself with the Honorable Minister's report. However, the issue of skilling does not come out. Skilling. Like for instance, in the Greater Ankole region, we have only one skilling center, which sometimes only admits about 10 students from every district, which I think is extremely very inadequate, given that we have so many big numbers that would like to partake of this opportunity. And if you only could kindly give in more information about skilling and what the policy pertains, I would be very grateful. Secondly, and lastly, Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, I tried to stand up, but I didn't catch your eye. Nonetheless, I wanted to inform this House. Maybe we may not have needed to go into that extent. Kanyadieru primary and secondary schools were started during my time as a cow in Mbarara district at that time. These schools do not and are not in any way owned by the yes, I did ask for some permission. Do not in any way are not in any way owned by the president. They are just seed schools and PLE school in that particular sub-county. I beg honestly, I wish I could, if you want to get proper information, get to me. There is a dictionary here.
Honorable Rex, please, once you want to challenge the speaker's ruling, you go to Rule 87.
Oh.
And it guides you on how to challenge the
Thank you very
speaker's
much,
ruling.
Mr. Right Honorable
Okay?
Speaker. Finally, I think also this whole hullabaloo would not have taken place if only, and I would like to implore the Minister of Education to come up with a comprehensive law, a law. We've been talking about, this is not the first time, this is not the second time, this is the nth time. 10th Parliament, 11th Parliament, 9th Parliament, we're talking about virtually the same thing. Why can't the Ministry of Local Government or of Ministry of Education sit down and come up with an extremely extensive law regarding school fees? I think it's a high time we got this.
But
thank you.
Honorable colleagues, please, Rule 82 on anticipation. We have said the report is on Tuesday. So please, no debate on school fees. Just I've limited you on issues of school fees because we are handling them on Tuesday. Honorable Waslivia.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister for the statement, but I want to point out one issue which is a challenge in Karamoja. There are students that dropped out in senior 2, others dropped in senior 3, and this curriculum is not taking care of them. What is the fate of those students that dropped out of the schools? It means when you go after senior, you fail, you have to repeat the school when you fail from senior 4. You have to go back and repeat in senior 1. This curriculum is not favoring parents in terms of school fees. And then also you look at the Karamoja, the distance at which people move to school. To access the next school in Karamoja, you must walk about 5 kilometers. Look at Kosike sub-county, where I come from in Nablatu. So the ministry should really make sure that all people are served equally in terms of equalizing the services of government to other districts. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Babiko.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I am of the view that we should discuss why our government-aided schools perform poorly compared to private schools. This is causing a lot of pressure to the poor parents because parents are striving now to take their children to private schools for the purpose of ensuring that they pass and continue with the education. Therefore, I will propose that the Honourable Minister brings a report here with all the challenges associated so that we can be able to achieve compulsory education for all. To Right Honourable Speaker, as Madi sub-region, we have a big problem about Amelo Technical Institute. Over 10 years, government has failed to finish the construction of this institute. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I have been to the ministry, I have written several letters. No action has been taken. Can the ministry go to a Germany and we have stakeholders meeting to resolve on this matter, Right Honorable Speaker, immediately? Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, there is...
Thank you, Honorable Musira John.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, thank you. I'll restrict myself to 3.1, especially over the curriculum and the new curriculum. And through you, request the ministers to whether she has a mid-circle report for UCE candidates. When we started, we should have crafted a way of monitoring and evaluating, and such a report would guide us as to whether, one, the new competence-based learning is taking root, especially in the schools across the country. And secondly, that the retooling of the teachers towards the same curriculum is also effective enough. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, we wouldn't have waited up to all this time that we should now begin grappling with how the new curriculum entrance to A level coming next year should be done now. That is a delay. You know, the minister is sleeping on a job. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I wish the minister to tell us exactly, because in her insinuations, she seems to be concentrating more on government schools. The Education Act, as amended in 2008, spells out the education law and the policy for all schools in this country. I personally run 2 private schools, and I have to go by the law. Mr. Speaker, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Jatumeriza.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this golden opportunity. I appreciate the Minister for this statement, because we all know that education is a prerequisite in our lives. I particularly appreciate the competence-based learning that is being fronted in our curriculum. And we know that curriculum is a key aspect of education. My appeal to the ministries to increase creating awareness, because press release and circulars sometimes don't reach grassroots levels. That is my concern, that the ministry should champion the release, not only press release and circulars, but find other avenues of creating awareness so that our people at grassroots level get to understand the curriculum into details. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Poto City, and followed by our champion.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Yesterday, we raised an issue of teachers who were not trained on the new curriculum. And today the minister has not addressed that issue. It's a very big problem in other schools. We have teachers who are not trained, and yet the ministry expects them to teach our students. Then another issue that I want to raise is the issue of time. These days, when you look at how schools are being run, students are being pampered. They study almost from 7 in the morning up to 7 in the evening. So I want to know from the Minister of Education whether in this new curriculum you are addressing this issue, because most of these students and pupils are very stressed. It is affecting them, and even it is affecting households, because previously pupils and students used to help their parents in holidays with housework and providing labor for food. That's why you're seeing in most houses people don't have food, because it's now one person who is working for the family. So we need to know what Minister of Education is doing in addressing the issue of time to be able to defend and support the parents in issue related to the time for these children. Thank you.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Christina Akello, a member of parliament from Erutenos constituency and a retired teacher. I taught for 10 years and a secondary school teacher. Let me take you back. History keeps on repeating itself. Honorable Minister, what we have discovered along education sector, we keep on trying this, what we call trial and error. You try this, dump that one, move to another one. Like we talked of entrepreneurship, which is part of skilling, and that one affected business studies like commerce. So after teaching them, after they have sat for their papers, they have nowhere to go. But as I can tell you, the challenge is people come with their ideas. Somebody wakes up, you come with the idea, teachers are trained in two weeks. You are taken for training, not proper training. It's just a workshop. You don't call it a training. And the same teachers are supposed to go and teach. So the problem is we don't have teachers who can train. Teachers are half-baked. Some of them cannot even pass the subjects they're teaching the pupils. So you need to go back. I cannot now go back to class and teach. Things have changed. things have changed. One, you come with the ideas, there are no instructional what? Materials, there are no textbooks at the school. Now, how do you expect children to perform? That's why the syllabus, the timetable is being overloaded. Remember those days we used to study from 7 up to 2, then people go for break. But now, to support on what a colleague has said, even nursery kids are going to school at 4 a.m. Doing what at school? They're not sleeping, and that's why we have the rate of school poor performance at school. So we need to sit down. Education, it's a large thing. It is not just about talking of skilling. There are people who are out, they have studied, they have dropped out, but they cannot go for skilling. So I think we need to do a lot.
Thank you, Honorable Sirwanyi. Then I come to Honorable Kangwaji.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the statement. However, I have two issues. The first issue, Right Honorable Speaker, is that the Minister is giving a window of 1 examination period. But Right Honorable Speaker, we are aware that there are children who will sit and who will not pass even the second time. There are children who will be maybe sick, who will not be available to sit for these exams that one time. What is the proposal of government to this category of students? Will they be provided with another opportunity to sit again? Because it cannot be a one time off and then you close out the rest of the people. Then number two, we are talking about the new curriculum, Right Honorable Speaker. But when I look at a primary school in my village, in Makoma village, Bulida sub-county, a UPE primary school, the teachers do not have the materials for the new curriculum. What is the plan that government is having on this particular matter of providing the rural schools with materials? The minister did not talk about that. I request the minister to add her voice and tell Parliament what they are going to do about the materials. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Kangwaji, followed by Honorable Korach.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Because when you give someone an opportunity to speak about education, is a real life to live. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for her statements, but particularly on the one of O-level and A-level. Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted to implore the Minister that when she's going to come back to present to us, you should be able to be more detailed and you tell us the subjects that are going to be covered and the ones that you have retained, those ones that have been protected, so that someone can be able to know and then the public can be able to benefit from that. Right Honorable Speaker, through you, sir, I want to beg you, and you allow me, and I beg your indulgence, I talk on this very issue. Allow me, sir. Thank you so much. Right Honorable Speaker, there is this animal called privatization. By definition, it is the transfer of businesses, industries from public sector to private ownership or control. When you talk about that itself, the minister sometimes can be here to be grilled, roasted, and so forth, but she has no any role that protects her to sanction a private school owner who has an opportunity to do this business as a real business. This person will be able to charge the money she or he wants simply because it is business. Now, yes, it is imperative enough to sit here at the house, we guide the ministry, we come up with a real role that will help us to make sure that the ministry is protected or the person is tied somewhere. Failure to do that, this is pure business. Because you have given me an opportunity and the law is protecting me to start up a business which is in an education sector. I will start it. I will tell you, for you to come with your child, this is the money to pay. Failure to do that, it is your choice. It is your right to look for another school. Otherwise, Right Honorable Speaker, this lady must be protected. The ministry must be free guided. Maybe if they can come up with a document.
Thank you.
With a document.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I joined the colleagues, members of parliament who spoke previously to appreciate the Honorable Minister for their statement. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to address myself on two issues quickly. The government policies are very clear that in every parishes, we should be having a primary school. In all the sub-counties we have in this country, there must be a senior secondary school. Then at the county level, there must be a skill training center. Right Honorable Speaker, when you look back, especially in my area in Gulu district as well, constituency, we have some sub-counties without the senior secondary school. And so many people drop out at the level of the primary. Beyond that, you don't see any person now joining secondary school because of the fees and so many factors surrounding that. Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, sometimes early last year, so many schools were picked for codings. In my constituency, we submitted about 10 seed secondary schools. 10 schools for codings. To date, Right Honorable Speaker, there are no clear informations. And yet when you go back to the community, the members want to see and love to hear the feedback from a member of parliament. So I would kindly request the Honorable Minister and the ministry to update the country on how far we have gone as a country on the codings in this country.
Thank you.
I thank you so much.
Diantonde.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. From the minister's statement of transition from O level to A level, she talked about how they are introducing instructional materials to the A level classes. But surprisingly, even the O level children are lacking instructional materials, most especially in rural areas. Number two, you talked of Swahili being taught in all schools. Surprisingly, the teachers were not inducted, they were not taught. There are no Swahili books in most of the primary schools. So how do you expect the teachers to teach Swahili? So there are so many computers lying idle in rural areas, in rural schools, because there is no electricity in those places. And yet you put some computers. I think before the ministry, before you sit down to draft something, at least involve the rural stakeholders to tell them so that they also benefit from the kind of changes you're having in the ministry. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Then Rusakero.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, parents play a very critical role in the academic path of their children. Most of us parents use the older curriculum, and we have knowledge about the old curriculum. This new curriculum, Right Honorable Speaker, we have nothing, no knowledge about. And therefore, we cannot even assess our own children. We cannot help them at home. The ministry has not given us a plan for sensitizing the parents of those students that are using the new curriculum. I think it is, yesterday I met my teachers, particularly head teachers and doses, and we made a plan of making sure that we sensitize the parents, particularly those that have children in secondary. Right Honorable Speaker, it's also on record that about 7 months ago, I raised a matter of national importance about these schools that have continued to teach children beyond the normal studying hours. I earlier gave you an example of a child was taken almost in the morning at 10 o'clock. At 4 o'clock. And he slept on a border, fell down, and a speeding car crushed him dead. So we have such scenarios, they are happening, but the minister has not made a statement which this parliament told him to present to parliament about 7 months ago. I am asking you, Right Honorable Speaker, to put the minister on notice to present that statement. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Sakaro. Minister, we shall need that statement.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Allow me also to acknowledge the report of the Minister. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to comment about the National Curriculum Development Center and how much consultation is done with the respective stakeholders. I have a very strong feeling that not many stakeholders, including parents, are actually consulted when we come up with this curriculum that we teach our children. Right Honorable Speaker, you'll recall that last year I raised an issue here, which unfortunately I'm yet to get a response to, regarding the curriculum that is being taught to our children. I laid on table here textbooks of primary 5 and 6, where our children as young as 9, 10 are being taught that abortion is legal. Yes, I laid on a textbook here, science textbook, approved by National Curriculum Development Center. And also the use of contraceptives. Why would a child as young as 10, 9 be taught about issues of contraceptives? All types, by the way, and I'm not just talking about one type of contraception, all types, just think of any. And these are the things that are being, how does it really benefit a child who is just 9? So for me, my concern is, even as we develop this curriculum, can we put into consideration our cultures, values, and what we stand for? So that is why I say we must have a thorough consultation with all the stakeholders as a country before. I think it is very dangerous as a country for us to come up with a curriculum that is half-baked. That is, for me, my biggest point. And I ask you, the Honorable Minister, to give me an answer as to how far we have gone with that issue that I raised, because for me, it is a very big concern to me as a mother. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Shatz Mushere, followed by Jonam and Honorable Zajan.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I wish to draw your attention to a project in the Ministry of Education, Uganda Secondary Education Expansion Project, where the Ministry of Education and Sports is supposed to construct 116 new seed secondary day schools which are targeting 60 districts. This project is also meant to focus primarily on improving access to lower secondary education in underserved areas and populations, including refugee hosting communities. As we speak, Right Honorable Speaker, there have been many delays in implementation of this project, and yet government is already paying on this loan. I would like to bring the attention of this House that this money, approximately $150 million from the World Bank, was approved in July 2020 and has a closing date of next year, 2025. So can the Ministry of Education present to this House what the progress made and why no work has begun on this project? And can the Line Ministry also inform the House on what will happen if the loan is not paid? And yet we are very excited about this project. Thank you, Right Honorable
Thank you,
Speaker.
Jonam, Honorable Zajan, Honorable Macho.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Mine is about the transition from O level to A level. And in the minister's statement, Minister, I want to thank you for that statement. In the statement, she states that they have consulted with the universities on the curriculum for A level. I wanted to find out what was the recommendations from the universities. I'm asking this question because, Mr. Speaker, in one of the workshops we had last year I'm a member of the Committee of Education and Sports. In one of the workshops, the National Curriculum Development Center presented, and there was a lady, a professor from the university, who was asked to discuss the paper from National Curriculum Development Center about the new curriculum, proposed new curriculum for senior 5 and 6. And the professor stated very clearly that A-level is where you start to develop children to take specific professions. If it is engineering, there are clear subjects that you are supposed to undertake to be able to go into engineering. If it is medicine, there are clear subjects that have to be taken. And now she was asking, where is the room at A-level? Where is the room for something new if you want your children to develop professionally? And for her, her suggestion was that if after senior 4, there are children who would like to take skills development, let them go for skills development. Meanwhile, the others who want to proceed on to some specific professions, they have to go back to the old subjects for those specific professions. That's why I was asking the question, what was the proposal, what was the recommendation from the universities? Because if one of them, a professor, is stating this way, it means the universities themselves are still not sure, or probably they are even opposing the idea of having to develop new curriculum at A-level. So I thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable John.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I also want to commend the ministry and government for the effort to try to catch up and transform education in our country. The challenge we face, Right Honorable Speaker, is that this new curriculum is not supported by commensurate infrastructure across the country. There are subjects which require research, where students are required to have laptops at school, or at least at home, to conduct research in order to appreciate the subjects back home. But we live in communities. My own constituency hardly has a school which has electricity, let alone the homes where these children are coming from. So even if one would donate a laptop, there would be no charging points, either at home or at school, for children to be able to operate laptops. The parents are technology incompetent, the children are incompetent, the teachers themselves don't appreciate technology to the extent of being able to assist in research. There are also subjects, I think there's a new subject called DIT, where students are being required to pay extra costs. And some schools are asking for 200,000, 150,000. I'll take the information.
Thank you, colleague, for giving me way. Why I want to give you information, because after the research, the new curriculum program is student-centered, that the child takes the lead. Now, after research, students are supposed to come back and present their discussions. Now, in a classroom of 120 or more, the classes we have, can a teacher be able to listen to each one of them, all what they've been able to give, collect them, and then derive out something? The information I want to give you about the structure in schools. The schools we have, we don't have enough classes to divide students in enough numbers. And the teachers, we put a ceiling on the teachers. The number of teachers we have cannot sustain a child-centered learning situation.
Thank you. Honorable Macho.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my colleague Honorable John has tickled me to talk about Busia Border State Secondary School. That was a beneficiary of the project that my sister Kabasharela Honorable talked about.
Honorable Shatsi Musherure.
Honorable Shaxi Musa That one, Mr. Speaker,
It's
sir.
a botanical name.
It's a botanical name.
So-
Mr. Speaker, sir, and my colleagues, I faced a rough time last week. That Busia Border City School was the beneficiary of that project. And an officer from the ministry called us and all stakeholders that they are coming to visit the site where Busia Border City School is gonna be built. By my surprise, Mr. Speaker, the call came in a day. Then the next day when we had gathered people at last in Central Parish, where the school is supposed to be located, the officer was ordered by somebody from the ministry that don't go to Busia, we have cancelled that school with immediate effect. Mr. Speaker, yesterday, I was surprised when the town clerk called me and sent me even a copy of a letter that people have been on ground this morning, but Busia Border City Secondary School has been cancelled. All that is happening when we hear news that we have ministers who have allocated themselves 3-4 schools. I am still searching for their names. Mr. Speaker, I believe the Ministry of Education officers are planning through a fire brigade system. Therefore, it's my prayer, Mr. Speaker, through you, that information, not now, through you, Mr. Speaker, I want the minister who is here to tell me why was Busia Border City School removed from among the beneficiary schools? If so, because we submitted the title, 2.5 acres, the reason they are saying that they want Busia Border City School to have 5 acres, the president wrote a letter saying should not build on such 5 acres in a town like Busia, which is turning into a city in its future. I don't know, Mr. Speaker, I need through your help to direct the Minister of Education who is here to tell me, to go and tell the people of Busia, why was Busia Border City Secondary School removed from the list? And if not so, these people of education should never come to step in Busia unless they have a reason why. Because this is a very important matter. It was a presidential pledge. Busia, we have only 1 secondary school. Most of my youth have nowhere to go when we do cross-border trade. They call us other names. I therefore, Mr. Speaker, need your help to direct.
Thank you. Now, Honorable Macho is sending me to negotiate, and again he's threatening the people I'm supposed to negotiate with. Honorable Minister, please, you'll have to respond to Honorable Macho to the cries of when you're responding to questions. Yes, Honorable Christine Kaya, Honorable Wanka, Honorable Migade.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My concern goes
And
to
Honorable Gilbert Oranyi.
my concern goes to the carrying capacities in schools. I see most inspectors of schools have forgotten to monitor this. Your kid gets a 4, goes to a school, and the class is 600 plus. And then when you go to the dormitory, they're like, don't worry, in a month, another dormitory will have been established. Right, Honorable Speaker, the issue of carrying capacities in schools needs to be ascertained, because I see even the inspectors have forgotten it. And then, Right Honorable Speaker, as of yesterday, my teachers from Chiboga district informed me that the capitalization grant for this term have not reached their bank accounts. And I am wondering, the term started on 5th, and February is the 2nd month in the financial quarter. What is delaying money from reaching these accounts? Teachers are just improvising chalk and all the necessities as you can think of. So really, can we get confirmation from the minister that these funds will reach the school accounts soon? I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Wanka.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, competence-based curriculum is based on what a student is going to do, not what he knows. And that presupposes that students must spend more time in the society, because what they are going to do is not at school. What they are going to do is in society. Uganda has one of the longest school calendars in the whole world. We spend 253 days at school. If we are going to implement competence-based learning, students must find more time in the society. The countries which use competence-based education, the average days at school is 180. For us to have an extra of 70 days, that cannot be a program for competence-based education. I want to pray, Right Honorable Speaker, that the Ministry of Education, they revise the school calendar so that our children and our students can find more time, because society becomes a center of learning in competence-based curriculum. I want to ask that we revise so that our students can have more time in our society so that they can pick skills based on the curriculum. I so pray, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Megade.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, many times programs have been set up for the best interest of Ugandans. But there are many times when we actually ill-prepared to implement these same programs. For example, the new curriculum provides for teaching of Chinese, and the reason is known. There is Swahili, there are French, and the others. Many times our areas have lagged behind because these specific programs actually don't provide for them. For example, the islands, where you provide for teaching of ICT, you can send textbooks for ICT, and what you want to teach is ICT. And we are in this era of technology. And you find a child who has never had a chance to touch a keyboard. Even during COVID, when we are giving out these examinations on TVs, many of these children will not get the opportunity to gather at a learning site where there is a single TV. So how prepared have we prepared the teachers and the schools in implementing this? Because, Right Honorable Speaker, I remember there was a time an assessment was done and teachers were made to sit an exam given to pupils. And many of the teachers failed. So, which means that actually those teachers also need refresher. So, how often do we take these teachers for refresher? And then lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, on the city schools, we passed a loan, and fortunately you were on that committee then. And we moved around the country. The areas that were to benefit were known, and they're on the record of Parliament, because we presented a report here. It is quite saddening that now Ministry of Education officials are moving around the whole country, trying to move seed schools from areas that were recommended on this floor. Therefore, I think the ministry, this at the end of the day is going to affect implementation of the loan, and we're already paying commitment fees. So my request will be to the ministry to update this Parliament and actually lay before Parliament the actual beneficiaries as presented then. Otherwise, we are destined to a wrong direction. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Rabshija, Honorable Gilbert Orange.
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to bring to your attention that we have one of the big schools in Kampala is Old Kampala Secondary School. And what is happening right now, I can say about, I think in December, the 25 teachers of secondary in that school were transferred to other schools, and I don't have a problem with the transfers. But out of those, one of them had retired last year in September, but he was also transferred according to the records. And then 2 deputies and 2 others who had requested for a study leave and had been granted. Now, after that, these people, others have tried to go where they were sent, or where they were posted, only to find that in those schools, some of those, the subjects that they are teaching are not on the curriculum in those schools. So they are roaming around. And what is annoying, that even the head teacher and the 2 deputies were also transferred. Yet before that, about 3 months ago, IGG got attention through someone that there was a lot of corruption, a lot of money had been lost, and even went there and they have a report. Even the auditors came and testified that there is a report. My concern is that these people should be given a listening ear so that they know what is happening. Because other than that, they have decided, because they are roaming around and they are not at school, and of course quite a number of learners also are concerned. Now KCCA was given instructions, according to what the teachers are saying, that these people should be deleted, all of them from the staff list. So my concern is that this school is near, and I know some.
Thank you. Honorable Gilbert Oranya, Minister has taken note of the issue.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to start by appreciating the Ministry of Education and Sports for adopting the new curriculum. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm a teacher by profession, and currently I am a PhD candidate, Chiambogo University, and I participated seriously in developing the curriculum for secondary school. Right Honourable Speaker, the new curriculum is the way to go for Ugandans. The old curriculum, even if a child drops in senior 6, that child would have nothing completely to do. But with the new curriculum, when the child drops in senior 1 or senior 2 or senior 3, that child would be very active, would be very sharp, would have something to do for his or her life. Therefore, I thank the ministry for adopting this new curriculum for Ugandans. Right Honourable Speaker, our fear is one. The development and the process of curriculum is not a one-day work. It's the process. We were advising the ministry at Chiambogo. We told them right now they have to start working on the curriculum for A level. Now, the last lot in Senior 4 are sitting this year. Next year by March, they are supposed to be in A level. And up to now, they have never come up with the curriculum and the syllabus for A level. Right Honourable Speaker, teachers are supposed to be trained. We advise them to start training teachers for A level as early as possible. But up to now, they are not doing anything. Therefore, this current Senior 4, they would sit in November. When they sit, Right Honourable Speaker, we may go in for a crisis. We may go in for what we call trial and error. We shall be doing everything at the rush because they have nowhere to go and they must go for A level. Right Honourable Speaker, we need an expert to guide this country. Education is something that you cannot gamble. There's no gambling in education. The same applies, there's no politics in education. We are discussing the future of our nation. Right Honourable Speaker, the quality of the country.
Thank you, Honorable Tungo.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I had 2 issues, but somehow you have picked me late. Yesterday, Honourable Semuju, who is a member of budget, made a statement
that there was no money for A-level curriculum. And I wanted him to explain, but now that he's not here, the minister should take note, because you are saying you are in the process of making the A-level curriculum. Honorable Semuji is saying there's no money in the budget, but you can reconcile. Now, on the lower, no, yesterday we are going to debate today. Now, on the lower secondary curriculum, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I think, Minister, you should be sincere to this House that we look for a solution together. This curriculum started during COVID. NCDC did not have time to move because of the restrictions. There is even a report which you have from NCDC, the number of teachers that were trained on the new curriculum. Many teachers were not trained because of the COVID restrictions, but also because of money. But again, you also have a report from NCDC. They have been struggling with materials to these schools. Now, colleagues, and I sit on the Committee of Education. Now, why this one is becoming interesting, UNEB in its presentation has requested money to start training teachers who are going to examine the new curriculum. According to the new curriculum, there is continuous assessment that is going to contribute 20% of the final exam. Now, the teachers in the schools are not trained on the curriculum. The material is not there. They must do continuous assessment. That's why the problem now comes in. And continuous assessment means a teacher must be in class with students, giving them assignments, tests, continuously assessing them. But also there is the challenge that some schools don't have science teachers. Some teachers are shared, others are borrowed. So, Madam Minister, this issue of continuous assessment and the teachers, I think you need to address this matter, Mr. Speaker. But as the Honorable Ranya has said, we all know that the new curriculum is the way to go. But you must address these issues.
Thank you, Honorable Mara.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. As we address the matters of the curriculum, there are some new system, the system of admission in the Ministry of Education that needs to be rectified. Right Honorable Speaker, as parents, we have been at schools either receiving admissions for our children. I was with in one of the schools, and what I noted was quite astounding. The Ministry of Education limits the number of admission for some of these schools, which is correct on the basis of the capacity. Let me say, they say they're meeting from 4 to 5. But you find that the headmasters and headmistresses of these public schools will reserve 50 or 100 on which they would just admit others. They will stop at 5. They will start taking children of 12, 13, 15, and they would leave this one who have got 6 or 7. I met parents who were very crestfallen, and they are saying, where is equity? Where is justice? Why do you reserve a position, let me say 50 position for stakeholders? And you leave these students that have passed so well, and you don't take them, and you prefer the ones who have not passed examinations well. So this needs to be investigated because we are talking about curriculum. Curriculum provides a basis for the pupils and students to compete. Now, when they pass public schools, we must make sure that the best in class take the first precedence. You don't have to reserve any position for anybody. So I would want the Minister of Education to tell me, why have you so much caused problems to our students, to our pupils, to parents, on account that you have not taken them up and preferred those who have not passed? And I sense corruption here. I submit right.
Thank you, Honorable Jonathan Plop.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, the first point I would like to make is that the competence-based curriculum has some core items that should be planned for deliberately.
And I want to thank the colleagues who raised the issue of the infrastructure and the structure. If you look at the digital literacy, which is a core component of the competent-based curriculum, how do you expect children who are in the villages, in the rural areas, to be able to make it in just that area alone of digital literacy? They don't have computers, the networks that are supposed to supply them not available, access to radios, televisions are not there. Two, on the aspect of critical thinking, the ability for the children to solve the problems of this country, that requires that the children are exposed to the current challenges that the country is going through to help them develop that capacity earlier on. We usually joke here in Uganda, it might be true, that some of the vehicles that are brought in here in Uganda and we drive are handwork of students in some countries as low as primary school. Some of the computers and the phones that we are using are products of children as young as 7 years or 8 years. So where are we in this whole idea of thinking? The other aspect I want to emphasize is that our education system is now that you spend 3 years in pre-primary school, 7 years in primary, 4 years O-level, 2 years, and then you go on to university. In this competent-based curriculum, are you also looking at that? And the reason I'm raising this, Mr. Speaker, this parliament was denied an opportunity to discuss this curriculum. And if the minister is listening to what the members are suggesting, you would now imagine, had you provided that opportunity and accepted this parliament to make an input, you will not be having these challenges that we are having now. So I want to appeal to government that when you have policies that are well-intentioned for this country, you should not hide it from the stakeholders, because they are our children, and these are the children we expect to take the mantle from us when it comes. So we have actually put the cart before the horse, and that's why we are now meeting these challenges. Even on the aspect of financing alone, the ministry is grappling with financing to implement a program they initiated themselves. And you ask yourself, is the government thinking in reverse? That you bring a good program and you cannot finance it? Where would you now take this country? Lastly, we had a system that is linked, Mr. Speaker. If you leave primary school, you leave primary school with some competencies. Now, those subjects were carefully eliminated. In fact, if we had implemented even the old curriculum, the technical drawings, the art and craft, the woodworks, the cooking, I think there was something to do with home economics and etc. These are the same things now they are bringing, and they are branding it to be competent-based education. So before we do away with something that has worked for this country, let us evaluate and not take these rash decisions that we regret after some years. I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, the circumstances I've seen from this house, and I wanted to plead with you, having listened to how the members have made their submissions, I think this is a unique circumstance that would appeal to you, Mr. Speaker, to find an opportunity and invite the senior minister to be here. This is now the circumstance. I've listened all through. So you find space, and I want to invite the minister and who is here and the one who is not here to really pay attention to this Hansard. Members have made very good submissions, and I think it will help you. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Now, Honorable Minister, just addressing the direct question which we asked and the transition from O level to A level. Be seated, Honorable Minister. You have not answered it at all. The steps you've taken so far cannot address it, because this is the time when my son is already in S4. I expect to be knowing the combination he's going to take. Okay? So we don't know, are there a combination? That's why Honorable Harold said some schools are telling them that no, choose based onto the current curriculum for A level. But when you read at the steps so far you've taken, you can see you still have a long way to go for these learners to be able to catch up with the new curriculum. If you're still at stakeholder engagement level, reasoning so and so, and what are we going to do? So Honorable Minister, please respond to the issues raised by Honorable Member.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank colleagues really for raising very critical issue that really shows the importance of education. That is really everybody's responsibility to ensure that we have our children all educated. Mr. Speaker, recall my statement is that the new competence-based curriculum was brought on this floor of Parliament in 2019, and that was approved by this House. And the rollout started in 2022, surely shortly COVID came on board. Mr. Speaker, there is a difference between the curriculum and implementation guideline. Most of the issues that the members have asked is implementation guideline. I want to start with the critical issue you've raised. The statement address the new competence-based curriculum. It is very clear that we are not transiting from the new lower secondary competence-based curriculum to a new competence-based upper secondary curriculum. We are moving from this very curriculum, which is competence-based, to the continuous curriculum of A-level. Why? Because the statement has made it clear we have to make consultation widely, as you people have raised, and come up with the competence-based A-level curriculum, which is not starting with this current senior 4 to go to senior 5. Having said that, Mr. Speaker.
Just let me get you very well. So tell me, with this competence-based curriculum, which I've studied in O-level, how I will do healthy history, economics, literature, divinity as my combination. Okay? And how it fits within the government strategy of STEM.
Mr. Speaker, this competence-based curriculum has got a wide range of subject study, and these students are moving to the A-level curriculum, which is specific subjects, either science-based or arts-based. The difference is that they have acquired more skills, which is more competence-based, as opposed to the old curriculum at A-level, which is not competence-based. But as of now, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable colleagues, the minister is being honest. What the minister is saying is that we are not prepared to continue with this curriculum at O-level for now. Okay? And in the time at A-level, the time we have, she's saying we are not able to do it. So whether we agree with her or not, at least that's the truth, and the country has known. Okay? We have clarified to the country. So go back, look at how your children are performing, and you tell them to fill combinations depending on where you feel they are performing best. That's what she has said. Honorable Minister?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, please. I need your protection. Allow me respond to issues that have been raised by the members, if you can allow. There are issues that have been raised by the member, and I wish to respond to it before I go further. Number one, Mr. Speaker.
The minister has requested that we allow her respond to her issue, then she can allow clarification.
Mr. Speaker, I was listening to members when they were raising issues, and it will be unfair for me not to respond to quite a number of issues before we come up with clarifications. Number one, there is provision for repeating. There is provision for repeating a class if the child has not made it. The implementation guideline is clear. Number two, the issue of monitoring and evaluation that has been raised. The Directorate of Standard Education
Procedure, Honorable Nakut.
Right, Honorable. The main reason we expected the statement of the minister was to address the issue of the transition of our children who are now going senior 4 who don't know their next step. And the minister has continued to explain all the other things, even when she has considered that in this particular one, there is a challenge. Right, Honorable, I think if you allow, let the minister address this issue of the transition. We are not proceeding right because there are children, right, Honorable? Right, Honorable, there are children, our children. I am a mother of those experimental children. And a number of colleagues here are. Some are exempted because their children are already graduates. No wonder we're handling this debate like this. That issue must be addressed. We have these children who have gone through this new curriculum. And you and I know who sat the old curriculum in S4 and sat the old curriculum in L level. The two are really different. We have these children now in a new curriculum, and we expect them to go to the old curriculum that is tormenting. Our children mental health is going to be compromised as they move.
Please go on.
Thank you.
And you help me understand, what do you want the minister to do?
Thank you. This mental health of our children, the stress of reading for an exam in S4 is bad enough, but it prepares you for the tougher exams in A level. Now, our children who have not gone through that tough process are going straight to the tough process of A level. That is how much their mental health is going to be compromised.
Information.
Those children, with all the challenges of mental health problems we have in this country, we are exposing a very difficult age that we will fail to control in this country. Right, Honorable? My proposal, because the minister has confessed before this house that it's not practically possible to have a new curriculum befitting this curriculum at A level now. In the 2025, they will still be in planning phase. So it's practically not possible. My proposal, Right Honorable, is that our children who are in this experimental stage of the curriculum be exempted from A level. Yes, there are many countries that do not do A level and are awarded the same, and people go to the university. That our children will, because it is not the interest of our children that they be experiments. It was not their choice that they be born late or born to young parents. That for you, your children are already graduates. You no longer care about those children of other people. Or because your children study international curriculum, you do not care about the rest of us. These children, you go making them go through all the hell just because you are experimenting. We will not accept that. Let our children be exempted from A level and given an equivalent award automatically.
Thank you. Honorable Minister.
Information.
Yeah, Right Honorable Speaker, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity once again. I just want to say, as I've said, as I've put it in the statement, that a lot of
Honorable
work.
colleagues, let's listen to the minister.
I've put in the statement that a lot of work has been done as far as the new competence-based A-level curriculum is concerned, but is in the process. My statement is very clear. Mr. Speaker, I will wish to implore you, if you could allow, let me get back and consult government. Proceed. Allow me to get back and make consultation on this specific matter, and then next week I could come back with a conclusive information that could
Thank
be
you.
the way. Thank you.
I think that's when a minister says she wants to go back and consult, let's give her time because it includes cabinet Okay? Let her report back on Tuesday. Next. And all issues will be handled at that time. Next.
Item number 4 on the order paper, response to matters raised on the process and guidelines on the renewal of the national identification cards.
Thank you. Now, as the minister comes, I know why emotions are running high. I have a candidate in a school that belongs to a minister. I have their candidate, and the child was asking me that what am I going to do? And of course, I couldn't get an answer. Me, I thought this was seamless. By the time you say we change, okay, from this to this, then you know the transition, because you started with 1 year, you started moving for 4 years. I thought we had prepared for the transition. This is a very, very delicate issue. It's a very, very delicate issue. And I'm really glad, Honourable Minister, you've taken that step of going back to consult and come back, and the whole country is in confusion on this issue. Honourable Minister for Internal Affairs.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, today I have a statement regarding the responses to matters raised on the floor of Parliament yesterday regarding the exercise of mass enrollment and renewal of national identity cards. In the course of yesterday, more questions were generated, and I was instructed to come up with answers to those questions. And below are the responses. Number one, members sought assurances that the ICT processes will be concluded in time. My response, Right Honorable Speaker and members, is as follows. 50% of the software work for the workflows that form part of the new enrollment, renewal, replacement, and change of particulars is completed. 2, there will be a pilot phase beginning 30th March 2024. 3, factory review for kits and data center equipment, which are the core components, will take place in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Issue 2, the economics and logic of renewals. The renewal of the national identification cards is premised on the following. 1, renewal is a legal requirement as provided in the ROPA, that is the Registration of Persons Act 2015, which was informed by the reasons that I'm going to elaborate. One of the reasons for that law provision was that changing biometric features of the face and fingerprints that appear on the card and encrypted in the barcode, these happen. And then renewal seeks to have the latest features of a person for identification. This follows from that reason. Number 2, deteriorating security features, namely holograph, microtext on the card by reason of wear and tear, and vagaries of weather and handling. However, the logic of this, the reasons I've given above, is premised on exclusively card-based national IDs. Aware of the dynamism of technology, that is why a mobile platform is included in the new ID, which enables one's profile to be updated electronically. Issue 3, recruitment of staff and time constraints. Why not begin now instead of waiting for funds? We know this is a time-constrained exercise. The adverts for recruitment will go out beginning 15th to 19th Feb 2024, and shortlisting, interviewing, and hire is scheduled to be completed by 30th March 2024. Issue 4, the use of national identification cards as collateral by money lenders. I think this was the Honorable Dr. Lulume and many other honorable members. First point is national IDs as collateral is illegal. NIRA is in the process of securing and improving verification of cards and letters by third parties who seek to determine the identity of persons, which will render the need of retaining cards redundant. Number 2, the regulators of money lenders should strike off such persons who unlawfully retain ID cards from the record of authorized money lenders. This is work within and across government. Number 3, citizens should report such matters to the police to allow the entity handle perpetrators lawfully. Problem is that the victims are in a way also perpetrators of this practice because they go to borrow and allow to be abused by giving away their IDs as collateral. Issue number 5, why is there a window and charges for express services as we plan to do, yet driving permits are instantly issued and renewed? What lessons can be borrowed from that aspect? Answer, driving permits are instant because there is no citizen verification. A process of reviewing the depth of family relations in Uganda and lineage is going to be automated to a given extent. But where inconsistent information is provided by a person, this has to be reviewed. Examples of such information include the following. 1, applicants declaring parents who are younger than them. 2, applicants whose tribe is not the same as father, mother, or grandparents. 3, applicants who do not indicate to which indigenous community they belong. 4, applicants relating to origin whose information contradicts information that already exists on the register. Will you beat the deadline? Yes, we will. I will commit to do that. Issue 7, how adequate is or was the training in India? Answer, the training in India was held at the prestigious IITTB, where MOSIP was innovated and incubated. So we trust their efficacy. 2, training was carried out by persons who have been involved with the technology since it was started. 3, it was hands-on and practical training and not academic, and involved customization of selected use cases in Uganda's legal regime. Issue number 8, deployment of staff who have cultural, ethnic, linguistic connections to the areas of deployment is necessary to ease the exercise. We can't agree more, and my answer is, it is a requirement in the project implementation document to hire persons who live within a radius of 40 kilometers of the area of enrollment and speak the local dialects. 2, recruitment will be managed by district local governments. Issue 9, what contingencies are planned for people with disabilities? Namely, examples of erased fingerprints, no fingers at all, or even no eyes. Will there be a special template for them? The answer is the biometrics being taken include face. Everybody has a face. 2, iris. 3, fingerprints. At least one of these features will be considered for this special case class of people. Issue 10, why are passports not used as alternate documents for identification and services? My answer is passports are travel documents. They are not identification documents and cannot be an alternative to national identity cards. To get a passport, you must first have a national ID. Issue 11, what becomes of the unpicked old but still valid IDs? The answer is owners will be entitled to a new ID and the old ones will be retrieved and destroyed. In any case, these passports are still in the custody of NIRA. 12, What plans are there for Ugandans in the diaspora? Answer, the new system provides for online pre-registration and registration at the embassies. 2, NIRA will carry out outreach exercises in selected countries with populations of Ugandans exceeding 10,000. Issue 13, are there any extra plans for far-flung areas like mountains? I think this was raised by the Honorable Member Hillary from Ike and the islands. Answer, far-flung and hard-to-reach areas will have personnel from those particular areas to carry out the exercise. They will also be availed with the necessary equipment and facilitation. Issue 14, how will the enrollment of migrants and foreigners be avoided? Local Council 1 chairman, GISWA and PISOs will be present at every enrollment center. But we need also extra eyes of the vigilance of the public, because sometimes some of these are compromised. 2, district citizenship verification committees are being put in place for persons whose citizenship is in doubt. So these are self-reinforcing to the first verification level. Issue 15, will this data be integrated across government? Yes, NIRA already interacts with all agencies of government. 16, will the unexpired IDs also be renewed? If not, what about added features like the iris? How will they be included? Does one have to wait till the expiry to renew their ID? Why is there continuous enrollment before the real exercise begins? My answer is as follows: that the validity of the ID runs from the time of enrollment, including the old ones we have. Unexpired cards will be renewed if the holder of the card so desires. All processes and facilities are in place for this. There's continuous enrollment for IDs so that there is no vacuum in service delivery. The law tags provision of certain services, presentation of a NIN or national ID. Last, persons below the age of 16 years only acquire NINs and not cards, so there is continuous enrollment for this category. Issue 17, IDs of Uganda and regional integration issues. How will uniformity, timelessness of the ID card and international standardization be achieved? My answer, Uganda's ID card aligns to ISO standards governing size, durability, security, and validation. As you may already be aware, the card is already used as a travel document in the region. Issue 18, issue of Ugandan Banyarwanda. How will it be sorted to allow enrollment? This exercise is meant to register all Ugandans. Among these are Ugandan Banyarwanda. These even appear in the 3rd schedule of the Constitution. The ones who qualify, therefore, are eligible and will be enrolled within the provisions of the Constitution of Uganda and all the related laws that govern citizenship. Issue 19, face veils for Muslim women. Are they allowed when registering? If not, why? What are the international standards? NIRA registers Muslim women wearing face veils. This is based on ICAO standard 9303, which allows for applicants with head covers on religious grounds to be photographed with their veils on. Issue 20, time between registration and issuance of the ID, is it instant? No, unfortunately. Card production equipment is centrally located in Kampala. It is laser printing, high technology equipment that costs a lot, up to 7 billion shillings a piece, and it does not make economic sense, nor is it affordable to acquire each for each district. Issue 21, how will the Maragoli people be registered? The issue of the Maragoli requires that the tribe be added to the 3rd schedule of the Constitution of Uganda as one of the indigenous communities. Honorable members, we fast track this matter through the necessary constitutional reviews. In the meantime, however, and for purposes of this exercise, a decision had been made earlier and advice given Quite often, I may add that they acquire citizenship by registration as an interim measure so that they get IDs and passports. Issue 22, how have the tests been done? Were they on the MOSI platform or on the existing old obsolete systems at NERA? My answer is that the tests were carried out in NERA in a specially created environment for migration tests. And last but not least, I want to comment also on the reported constraints of the JVA. I want to report that there is none. Each one under the JVA has his role and it's being executed smoothly. I hope this adequately answers the honorable members' questions. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, I'm not reopening this matter. I have cross-checked Rule 52. No, listen, it's the minister who accepts clarification. And so Rule 52.2, I've just checked whether I cut over the debate or not. It shouldn't exceed 1 hour as per the rules. Yesterday, we even exceeded 1 hour. So I don't want to reopen this. I read all the other issues be followed up by the Committee on Internal Affairs. We are going to be processing the Ministerial Policy Statement. These are issues that will again report on, but also ensure that indeed we have a smooth running. Yeah, thank you. I had wanted to allow Honorable Feta, but the rule here I found was tying me down. Honorable colleagues, we are going to receive, I've checked, I still have some time. We are going to receive 2 reports, which are next items. Then we debate them, I think, tomorrow. Now, these reports, Honorable Chair, I'm giving you maximum 10 minutes because members have been with them and they are going to read since they know we are going to handle them. Correct?
Item number 5 on the order paper, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Health on a field visit to Acholi sub-region to assess the prevalence of nodding syndrome.
Honorable Chair.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the report of the Committee on Health on a field visit to the Acholi sub-region to assess the prevalence of nodding syndrome. I beg to lay with the accompanying minutes of the committee. I beg to lay, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, as you've guided, I will go through this report. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, allow me to draw your attention to the introduction, which is page 1. There's some information that I think we should go through. The causes of nodding syndrome. It is currently not known what causes the disease, but its closely associated evidence has been put forward. It is hypothesized that nodding syndrome is a neuroinflammatory disorder caused by antibodies to Onchocerca volvulus, which is transmitted by the Sumerian black fly, which breeds in fast-flowing rivers. Nodding syndrome was previously unknown in the Acholi sub-region. The hypothesis of Onchocerca volvulus as the cause is not universal in all volvulus endemic areas. And I want you to note that Onchocerca volvulus is endemic in many parts of Africa, Latin America, and Asia, where it causes river blindness. Yet nodding syndrome has only been reported in a few areas of Africa. That's Tanzania, South Sudan, and Uganda. Honorable members, nodding syndrome only occurs in children. The symptoms, in addition to the classic nodding of the head, as the condition progresses, seizures manifest and other psychiatric symptoms like depression, anxiety, disorientation,
and wandering away from home, aggressive behavior, psychotic features, behavior difficulties, declining cognitive and motor function, wasting, growth failure, and physical deformities, leading to severe disability and in some cases, death. The treatment, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, there is currently no treatment for nodding syndrome. The treatment aims at symptomatic relief and includes the use of anti-seizure medications like carbamazepine, phenytoin, and sodium valproate. For seizures, nutritional behavior and physiotherapy. Treatment with ivermectin to kill the Onchocerca volvulus microfilari is not effective against the adult parasite. And of course, rehabilitation is important. The background, Right Honorable Speaker, is quite lengthy, and
No, Honorable, Rule 34, which governs field reports, it's very clear. You lay and you highlight major recommendations only. Then I appoint time for debate. So you have 5 minutes now.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I'll make use of the 5 minutes. Let's go to rule. Sorry, Right Honorable. Page 3, and the areas that we visited are highlighted, the Padere, Omoro, Lamo, and the prevalence of nodding syndrome in the African countries is well highlighted. And like I had mentioned, Tanzania, Uganda, and South Sudan. Right Honorable, I would like to draw your attention to page 5, which is the findings, observations, and recommendations. Bullet 5.1, the extent of prevalence of nodding syndrome in the Acholi sub-region. There are 5 tables, Right Honorable. Table 1 is Padere district with about 1,000 cases. Table 2 is Kitgum, 527. Table 3 is Lamo. Table 4 is Omoro. Table 5 is Gulu district. Committee observations, that is page 7, according to records from the district local governments.
Honorable Ayume, rules don't allow you to read observations, please. Please. It even says key recommendations. If I can read for you Rule 34, Sub-Rule 2, upon laying of the report under Sub-Rule 1, the chairperson or the member shall present a brief summary of the report, and I write the key recommendations contained in the report.
Thank you, well guided. Let's move to page 10, Right Honorable Speaker. The committee recommends the Ministry of Health should continue scientific research to establish the exact cause of nodding syndrome and consequently prevent curative measures. This should include resource allocation for research and treatment. 2 health facilities should have special clinics or clinic days to handle victims of nodding syndrome. This means there should be at least 3 staff who can effectively diagnose nodding syndrome and prescribe the management plan. 3 parents, guardians of nodding syndrome and the community should be assisted about the importance of their children adhering to treatment to avoid relapse of or worsening of the progress of symptoms. 4, the Ministry of Health should conduct refresher training for health workers and the village health members on nodding syndrome. Since the last training was in 2016, most of the staff trained have either been transferred or left for various reasons. Newly recruited staff have limited knowledge of nodding syndrome. Page 11, the committee recommends the Ministry of Health, in consultation with local governments of districts affected by nodding syndrome, should establish the exact number of nodding syndrome patients and homes affected by nodding syndrome. 2, since nutrition is an important component of treatment outcome, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development should provide support to the affected families. For example, drawing from the monetary support to elderly under the SAGE program, a similar monetary intervention can be provided to each patient. This can be costed annually based on the number of nodding syndrome patients per district. and money disbursed to the respective local governments. For example, District A, 1,000 patients times 50,000 times 12 months would be 600 million shillings per month. Number 12, Right Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends, given the distances that patients or guardians have to travel to health facilities for assessment, VHTs should be continuously trained and engagement to act as the first point of care, that is, identify, report, refer. They can also deliver drugs to patients who are deemed to be clinically stable. The committee recommends that as follows: if funds for running a standalone rehabilitation center are inadequate, these services should be integrated in the surrounding health facilities and the necessary funding be made available for recruitment and running costs. Ministry of Health and Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development should come up with integrated guidelines for the management of nodding syndrome. Page 13, bullet 5.25, the committee recommends to ensure sustainability, nodding syndrome coordination meetings can be integrated into routine district and sub-regional meetings. This should include periodic situation reports on nodding syndrome situation. 5.26, the committee recommends that PHC allocation non-wage for affected districts be increased to cater for patients. 5.3, the impact of nodding syndrome on families, the economic impact, social impact. I would like to draw attention, page 15. The committee recommends that local leaders should organize community dialogues aimed at sensitizing the people about nodding syndrome in order to reduce discrimination, stigmatization of victims and their families. The health facilities through the VHTs should conduct counseling for both parents, caregivers, patients who are mentally stable. 3, the community development officers, probation officers should be supported to handle follow-up cases of violence to nodding syndrome patients. Page 15, Right Honorable Speaker, the reproductive health of nodding syndrome. It is very important, and I would encourage members to take time and read that. Page 17, the committee recommends that the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development and Ministry of Health should put in place measures to protect against, but also manage survivors of gender-based violence and their children. The justice, law and order sector should treat nodding syndrome patients as a vulnerable group and consequently penalize perpetrators of as such. Support provided families of victims of nodding syndrome. Right Honorable Speaker, that's self-explanatory. It shows the different government agencies that have provided support. Page 20, in general, the committee observed that most of the support provided to the affected families by the entities above was one of intervention and also does not cater for affected families. 2, some interventions like the food supplies are just a temporary relief to affected families since the quantities given cannot last long enough. 3, nutrition is a key ingredient in the management outcome. As I conclude, Right Honorable Speaker, although the first case of nodding syndrome was reported officially more than 15 years ago, the available literature doesn't point towards a definitive causative agent. The high association with Onchocerca volvulus transmitted by the Sumerian black fly seems to be the most plausible explanation. There is need for a holistic approach to manage nodding syndrome. The success of its management depends on how much of nodding syndrome can be integrated in the routine health and social services of the affected areas as opposed to having it as a standalone program. This includes continuous training, monitoring, follow-up, community screening programs, laboratory tests, and treatment. It should be one of those diseases reported on in the district. There needs to be continuous community awareness about the identification, predisposing factors, adherence to treatment. Government should commit resources to nutritional support through financial stipend for affected families or a monthly food hamper and nutritional supplements. This should be channeled through the district local governments. Those patients who have retained good cognitive function can be integrated back into the school system, while adults should be skilled and given startup capital. A lot still remains unanswered about nodding syndrome, like the exact cause and treatment. Government should continue to fund scientific and epidemiological research studies on nodding syndrome. This should be retrospective, current, and longitudinal studies. There is evidence that socio-economic support and medical services were provided to the affected families and communities. Therefore, the committee would like to thank Government of Uganda, Center for Disease Control, and the local governments of the affected districts and the various health partners for their contribution in managing nodding syndrome. The special thanks and recognition go to Professor Idro, a Ugandan pediatrician, and Professor Sylvester Onzivwa, I forgot he's from Moyo district, who have conducted research in nodding syndrome, which has provided a lot of valuable information, but also earned them international awards in the area of scientific research. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I beg to submit this 14th day of February 2020. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
2024. And for the record, Right Honorable Speaker, it is nodding syndrome, not nodding disease. Thank you.
Thank you. No, Rule 34, this report it doesn't allow. No. No, you know, here we apply rules. It's not the mass of the speaker, it's just the rules. But honorable colleagues, I'll be appointing debate time for next week. Yeah, so because I talked to the Minister for Health, they are in the field and I want them to be here. So it would be unfair for me to have communicated to the Minister and I continue and allow a debate when she's not here. And also it gives you time to read the report and analyze it and consult, because somehow, somewhere, it's very technical. Chairman, Committee on Health, our bill, alcohol bill. Your committee is late.
Right Honorable Speaker, for the record, the bill was referred to two committees, the Committee of Trade and to the Committee of Health. Right Honorable Speaker, cognizant of the challenges of processing a bill as two committees, I would therefore like to ask for more time, 30 days. We still have some stakeholders that we need to engage. In light of the fact that there were unforeseen factors, Right Honorable Speaker, like the Christmas break, the House adjournment due to the budget framework paper, and the loss of our dear mother. So therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to ask for 30 more days to conclude business. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
I can see you've mobilized all excuses. Yes, yeah. This is a very, very critical bill, honorable colleagues, where we need wide consultations. But Chairman, my worry is we are also receiving over 30 bills from government for harmonization, major bills. And then we are about to go into the critical part of the budgeting process. So 20 days should be enough for you. Okay?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Most obliged. And for the record, I'm not stifling the bill because I don't have any interest in the alcohol industry. Right Honorable. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, you're invited for the mass, which has started just now at 5 p.m., led by the Bishop of Nebi in the conference hall. Please, let's join the rest from us. House adjourned to tomorrow at 2 p.m.